Welcome to B Flow Sessions, the podcast where we help you find the flow in life and on the river. I'm Brad Burden. Join me as I talk to paddlers, athletes, and adventurers who are all seeking the flow. B Flow Session is brought to you by the brands that keep us in the flow: Dagger Kayaks, Sawyer Paddles, Stolquist PFDs, and Level 6 Gear. Thanks to them for keeping us in the flow. Check them out and take your next adventure to the next level. Welcome to the next episode of B Flow Sessions, and I am so stoked to be joined by somebody who is an icon in our sport, one of the best kayakers of all times across multiple disciplines. This chick, and I say chick, she knows that when I say chick, I mean that with the utmost respect. That's like a badge of honor. This chick has won the green race 14 times. She's been on the U.S. freestyle team. She's done class 5 expeditions, first ascents all over the world. Adriene Levknecht, welcome to B Flow Sessions.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And I do want to start off by saying, unfortunately, you have a little, accident on the water at the green race recently. Kind of tell us about what's going on and catch everybody up with that.
Yeah, so paddling into the green race, I was with Shane Benedict and Snowy, and I ran go left, and I just caught my paddle on the river right shelf. That's kind of a little bit more cut, like undercut than it used to be, and it just pulled my arm back, so I dislocated my shoulder. So that also meant that I couldn't race. Which was a bummer, but. Chris Hargis put it back in, who's a PA. This is just a reminder to, boat with friends who know how to put shoulders back in, because my shoulder was only out for like 5 minutes maybe. But I also stayed super calm. I was collected. I was breathing, making sure that my muscles weren't firing too hard, because I knew that was going to make it more painful. So just another thought, just to be able to breathe through stuff and discomfort, it was very mind blowing for me to be able to do that. So then I hung out for the day at the green race. I actually ended up gate judging for the giant slalom, which was super fun. And I loved it. The green race is a part of my life, and anytime that I can give back to the green race, that's what I'm going to do. So it ended up actually being a really good day. And this whole injury has kind of been a lesson in humility for me. I'm really, really bad at asking for help. And with only one arm, it's not exactly the easiest thing to do. But so that's kind of where I'm at.
Well, and Adriene she's giving me permission to say this, and she would never, go into this, but she said two things there. Number one, she's given her life to this sport. When you give your life to a sport like kayaking, you're not just self-promoting and giving it to the sport, you're also giving to people, and she's helped countless people on the water, taught people to kayak, and now the kayaking world is kind of coming together and is helping Adriene out with the expenses of this surgery. So we're going to have it linked in the show notes of how people can go out there and help Adriene with just the expenses, and we offer financial support, but also love and prayers and all the good vibes for your recovery. And we know you're going to attack this the way you do everything in life, and that you're going to come out the other side even stronger. So, we wish nothing but the best for Adriene. And like I said, definitely people reach out, find in the show notes of how you can help Adriene with this recovery process.
Thank you.
But Adriene, tell us, how did you find your flow in kayaking?
I mean, it just like with anything, it comes and goes, right? So I've had good years and bad years on the water. And it's definitely taken me, I have to take it on like a day by day process, because one day could is totally different than the next day. So like you can go kayaking on a Monday and be like, "Oh yeah, that was sick. I just found my flow. That was rad." Go kayaking on Tuesday and you're like, "Man, my hip pads feel weird. My butt feels weird. My feet don't feel right. Like something's not right." And so like for me, finding my flow is like a day by day like feel, right? Like the days that
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think of where I find my flow are the days that I'm most relaxed, the days that I say to myself, I'm out here to have fun, and the days that I'm with like my
Yeah,
people, my like humans. And so like those three factors are
sure.
big into my ability to find my flow, even if it's during a race. So like Little White Race last year was a perfect example. Like I put in the river, I'd been sick. I'd been on really, really strong antibiotics all week. I wasn't feeling myself. I couldn't eat. I had zero energy. But I said to myself at the beginning of the starting line that I just was out there to go kayaking and have fun. And the first rapid, I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be sick. Like, and that was the definition of like finding my flow, where I was paddling really fast downstream. I was being precise. I was being like, I was on a line and there was no changing it. And so, like, that's really more where I find like more of my flow than anything than like, than how did I find it? It's a day by day process. And I think a lot of people need to remember that because some days are just not your day. And some days you got to know when to
Yeah,
hold them or when to fold them, right? And so it's like some days
yeah.
it just doesn't work out. You know, Worlds for me in 2015 in Canada did not find my flow. Like I was essentially
Mm,
supposed to win. And I just didn't find my flow and that was just not my day and it was just not meant to be. And so, um, yeah, I think that that's something that a lot of people can probably learn from is to just try and give yourself grace as every day goes.
I love that. What about your flow guides? Who were your first mentors?
So I started kayaking when I was super young. I was like 10, 11 years old. The first guy that really taught me whitewater was John Clark, who worked at the NOC in North Carolina. He has since passed
Hmm.
away, but he was one that
Yeah.
like helped me through a lot of my going from like class 2 to class 3 into class 4. You know, like started swimming at Nantahala Falls and then was suddenly running the Cascades like 2 years later. And so he helped me with that.
Right.
And then as I kind of grew up and I moved from Michigan and North Carolina to go to college, Shane Benedict, who's like my surrogate dad, he played a really, really big role in me finding my flow on the river. And then, you know, mentors that have been around me forever, like Andrew Holcomb and Anna Levesque. And
Mm,
then you add in all of the old school bros, so like Tommy Hillicky, John Grace, Billy Murphy, all the LVM boys, and they were really the ones that like originally taught me um to just not be stressed out. Like you have one bad line, that doesn't mean that the whole river is going to be awful. Know, and they taught me to kind of
right.
let things roll and just let it go. And so those guys played a huge role in my kayaking ability for sure and my ability to find my flow.
This next question is called perfect flow. And if you could tie into it a little bit, I'm sure you've had quite a bit of perfect flow on the green, and in particular the green race. Tell us about a time when you found just perfect flow on the water, but also tell us about some of the green race experiences.
I mean, I've had a lot of them. I did 18 years of green racing. Honestly, my last green race, so the green race that was in 2023, that day was just one of those days that's it's a very special day to me. Like it's not just a race, it's about community. Being on my home river, it's about being able to celebrate the Mama Green and like all of our friends and family. When I finished that race, Brad McMillan looked at me and he goes, "You did it." And that was when I broke the 4:30 mark. That was my like
Wow.
that was my day of like just knowing I knew that I had broken 4:30. And that was huge for me. Like that was a really big win in my book. And I knew, however, that I could go faster, which was super frustrating. This is the perfectionist in me coming out. Um, yeah, I made a couple of mistakes here and there, but it's also like with races, especially that are 5, 6, 7 minutes up to an hour long. You're gonna make a couple mistakes here and there, and you just have to know that you
Right.
can. get back up and pull your pants back up and keep going. I did have a year, 2013 was pretty rough on me. It's the year that Shannon Christie died on the Potomac. She was my best friend, and
Yeah.
I had a pretty rough green race that year. I actually flipped twice in Zwick's, which not very many people knew about. And I
Hmm.
also, it's also the only time in the green race that I have flipped, which
Oh wow.
is pretty crazy to think about. And I flipped twice in like a 30-minute or 30-second span, like literally back to back. But yeah, that was not a year of finding my flow, that's for sure. Like, I had some adverse things happening in my life, and my brain was definitely not in it. And so I just didn't have it then, which, it's fine. You go back next year.
That's right. And oddly enough, the next question is flood. Tell me about some times when things went wrong on the river, but that kind of uh, definitely counts as that. And so many times, right, when things go wrong on the river, it's because things off the river aren't right either. Like in that situation. But any other times that you can think of that you want to share where things were just not right on the river?
Man, I've had so many. I mean, I had like a Raven Fork lap in North Carolina and Cherokee where I swam twice. And like my mom was watching
Wow.
me from the shore. Yeah, like there's, honestly, when you kayak on class 5 rivers for as long as we have, like you're not always going to be in your best. But then you have the choice, like, do you want to hike out and give up, or do you want to just keep going? And that has a lot to do with the humans that you're paddling with. But yeah, like a lot of outside circumstances dictate how your paddling is going to be. A lot of people take pride in being able to put behind the things that are going on land when you're kayaking, but they're still
Mm,
there. Like those feelings are still there.
yeah.
I had
Yeah.
a really bad rash of time after Shannon died where like I was positive that if I made a really big mistake that I was going to die immediately.
Mm.
Oh, and that was just like something that I had to work through as a kayaker. And also thinking, do I still really like this sport? Do I actually want to be here? Like, yeah, extenuating circumstances can sometimes like potentiate you not finding your flow.
That's interesting. You said like second guessing whether or not you want to be in the sport. I'm just now returning to the sport after a 20-year hiatus. From 1997 to 2005, I paddled 300 days a year on the freestyle circuit, doing really hard class five. And I got to a level where two things were happening. I wanted comfort in my life, so I wanted to get a job where I could make some money, have like a TV and a couch and a bed and things. But also, I was at a point, and I hate saying this now, like because the point I'm in as a paddler now. But at the time, I was either scared or bored.
Yeah, I can feel that in my soul. And that's like definitely something that I've had to work through. Like, and I have lost that feeling now because now I'm just really grateful for any days that I get on the river, no matter where it is.
1,000%.
Um,
Yeah.
and that's a different mentality that you have to go into with kayaking in general. Like after you've really, really pushed the limits for as long as we did, how do you still enjoy something that's not as dopamine releasing, right? And so, like, how do you still enjoy going to the Nantahala or, going and bouncing down a low water, you know, I don't know, Tuckasegee or something with like your friends' kids? Like, and so you find joy, like you find yourself trying to find joy in other things, which usually comes with watching other people learn. And that's huge. That
Right.
was why, I spent 5 years working for First Ascents teaching, young adult cancer survivors how to
Mm,
kayak. And that was because I had lost the
yeah.
love for kayaking. I lost a lot of friends in a short amount of time. I thought that I hated kayaking. And then I realized that kayaking isn't just about pushing the limits, it's about community, it's about
Yeah.
friendship, it's about finding your family on and off the river, and then being able to find peace on the water and realizing that you don't
Yeah.
have to be scared all the time in order to go kayaking.
So, full disclosure to our listeners, I have a spreadsheet with questions for our topics that I send to our guest. And either I did not send it or Adrienne's been extremely busy fighting fires out west. She didn't look at it, but it's almost as if she has studied it because every story she tells is exactly what the next topic is. And the next topic was low flow, times you've been away from kayaking for various reasons. So again, you've covered that completely. Let's now move to the current. So obviously, double entendre there. The current, what are you doing to find flow today?
I mean, I have very, very limited days of kayaking these past few years. And so really my flow is just being able to be on the water. And at the same, and that might even mean me going for a 5 mile run, running my own shuttle, and then paddling the Deschutes outside of Bend solo. And that's just me going kayaking. And you would never think, I never thought that I'd be able to enjoy going kayaking on my own until I started doing it. Like, until I was like, actually, this is amazing. Like, this, it's not super hard, it's not super
I
scary,
love
but
solo
it is
paddling.
really fun. Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, obviously, it takes a special
Yeah.
person to be able to have the abilities to be able to do that and the trust in your body and your capabilities. That doesn't mean that I go out there without any safety net. I make sure that I share my location with my boss every time I go out there. And like, I'll share my location and he'll know exactly what I'm doing. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I'll check on her in an hour and a half and make sure she's good. Um, so a lot of it is that, and then just finding my community out here. Like I have a group of 3 guys that I paddle with pretty much on the reg. Whenever I'm home, they're right there and we'll go paddle and which is super nice. And then yeah, like get being able to get back into a longboat is I belong in longboats. I love my Vanguard. I just love it. I just did a lap on the Deschutes yesterday in my Vanguard for the first time. And I just like it's just such a fun boat. So yeah, it's really just about the people that I'm with at this point, more than anything.
Did you ever dabble in slalom?
I mean, I played with it here and there more to piss people off than anything else. But no, not really. I mean, I've played with it like when we would go to Tuck Fest, they had a slalom race. But no, not really. It was never really in my. I always saw slalom as like the rich kid's sport, and I was not a
Right.
rich kid. So, I can't afford a
Yeah.
$3,500 carbon slalom boat. I can't afford to train for months and months and months for 6 races in the summertime. Yeah, it just
Yeah.
wasn't
Good point.
really ever my cup of tea. I would rather be out in the middle of nowhere, like on the Middle Fork of the Salmon,
Yeah.
or doing laps on the North Fork, or, going up to the Little White when it's 4 feet. Like, I would rather be going to do stuff like that and being in nature than being in a concrete jungle.
Yeah. I was the same way, learning to paddle at the NLC, all the slalom racers, and I was like, no, I want to go to the falls and do indoors and go up to the Cascades and stuff. But I cross trained with all those guys and lifted with them, and like you learn a lot about training and strokes from them for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that, watching Jess Fox paddle, I try and emulate the way that she paddles. She's strong, she's precise, she's fit, is very, very calculated on every stroke that she takes. And I try and emulate that when I go do some class 5 race somewhere.
Well, that's why I asked is because like your body type and your paddling style and the fact that you love longboats, like you look like a slalom paddler. So that's why I asked if you had like some sort of background in that. So that's a compliment, by the way.
Thanks.
Uh, what about flow advice? What advice would you give to two people here, two different people? One, a person who's just trying to start kayaking, and the second, to an older person who may have been away from the sport for a while who's looking to get back into it.
I mean, for both of them, I would say on both sides, give yourself grace, right? Nobody is perfect. Um, Nobody has gotten to be a a a proficient kayaker without days of not finding your flow. Like there's all of us struggle with it. Kayaking has a super, super tough learning curve. It is very unforgiving, and it's difficult, but at the same time, like, what are you like, my questions usually to people who are getting into kayaking is, what are you getting into it for? If people are like, oh, well, my friends do
Mm,
it, so I want to do it. I'm like, I don't really know if that's the right answer. Like, the answer that I gave when I got into whitewater was that I wanted to spend time in nature and test my limits. And I was 10. Like, I had no idea that literally, what, I don't know, 30 years later, here I am, like, still being a kayaker, and my poor parents are like, are you ever going to grow up? But like that, so I would always say, like, give yourself grace and get into kayaking for the right reasons. I also got into it because I was acutely aware that I would be able to see areas that not very many other people get to see, and go into these low populated areas in the middle of nowhere, and at the same time be able to have these really really cool experiences with other humans who are like-minded, who enjoy being in the middle of nowhere on a river and being able to, like, build that camaraderie and that teamwork together. And so I would also just say, find your people, find your crew, and give yourself grace, give yourself time to learn. And Rome wasn't built in a day. Nobody becomes fluent in a language in a week, you know so just remind yourself of that.
Love that.
So now I want to talk about, even though you may be injured right now, we're going to run some metaphorical rapids together. This is our rapid fire Mount Rushmore, and I'm going to throw out a topic to you, and you're going to give me your top 3 to 5 from every category. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Favorite kayaks of all time?
The Vanguard is number one. Let's see. Okay. Oh, the Project 48. The best playboat ever made. Love that
Okay.
boat. Let's see. I really, really love the Indra. And
Yeah.
then the Piranha X has also been, I've been dabbling in those 10-foot boats and I love them. So those are my
Very
four.
cool. Okay. I like it. Rivers of all time.
The Zambezi, the Green River, both pre and post Helene, because it's a special place in my heart. The Rio Hondachi in Ecuador, and the South Fork of the Salmon.
Love
That
it.
place is so special.
What about countries to paddle in?
I mean, every country is great to paddle in. You know that.
I do. But give me
Obvious.
4.
So obviously the U.S. Like we have such a
Yeah.
vast, difference of what we can do in the U.S. So
Hmm.
I can't we can't discount the United States.
Yep.
Ecuador is definitely up on my list because everything is so put together. So everything is so close and it's just so
Right.
like all right there. Ecuador's rad. And then obviously it goes hand in hand with the Zambezi, Zambia. And then probably, and this might surprise some people, the UK.
Okay. Yeah, that's the first for that for sure.
That's how
All
I
right.
roll.
Yeah, I like it. Break the molds. Go against the stream. I like it. Um, what about a river you've never done that you've got to get on?
The Indus.
Yeah, in Pakistan. Yeah, it's become it's almost like I feel like it's the new Stikine.
It is. It's honestly, I have always wanted to go to the Stikine. I've been asked multiple times to go. And honestly, like it's kind of a tie between the Indus and the Stikine. Like if the timing all lined up and somebody asked me to go to Stikine, I would go. The problem is it runs during my wildland fire season, so usually I
Right.
don't go.
Kayakers of all time.
Benny Marr. I love that guy so much. Okay, so Andrew Holcomb,
Yep.
100% the most smooth human being in a kayak ever
Smooth.
created. Also
Yep.
as a Torsosaurus, he has like the same inseam as me, and he's a foot taller than me. And then Benny, obviously. Nuria can't be discounted. She is amazing. It doesn't matter if male, female. She is 100% one of the top kayakers in the world. And
Yep.
then I love watching Jessica Fox in a
Mm,
small boat. It
yeah,
is. It's literal. It's music on water.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good list.
Yeah.
That's a good list. All right, now final flow. I want you to think about the river goddess has come down, and they've said, Adrian, so many things in life we don't know when it's our last time, but you get to know that this is your last time in a kayak, and that might be heartbreaking. But to make it up to you, she's going to let you pick your river, pick your boat, pick your age, and pick your crew. What do you got?
Oh man. So, in all honesty, I this is gonna sound really weird, really kind of lame coming from me. I don't care what river it is because kayaking to
Hmm.
me is a lot about the people that I'm with.
Yeah,
So it's gonna be any river, anywhere, any age, anytime. But the people that I would want to be with would be Shane, Benedict, Andrew Holcomb, Snowy, and then I would I would ask that goddess to bring me back some of my humans that have
yeah,
left. So, Maria Noakes, um, sorry, Whew, I'm good. Shannon Christie, you know, I miss both of them a lot. And then John Clark, who taught me how to kayak at the Nanahail Outdoor Center. Um, these are all people that were not only foundations of my like upbringing, but also like created me and made me the human that I am today. Which, if only I could like talk to them all one more time, you know.
yeah. That's a pretty good list of humans right there. Some of my favorite people too, and yeah, the ones you mentioned that wish we could see again and
Yeah.
paddle with again and say hi to again would be pretty awesome. Well, Adrian, I want to say thank you so much for everything you've meant to the sport, for our friendship, even though like person to person was pretty brief. You were kind of emerging as this badass as I was getting out of the sport, so we only crossed paths a little bit, but have
But you're
stayed.
back now.
I'm back now, baby. I don't know what that means, but but we've stayed in touch through social media and things. So I consider you a friend, even though we've only paddled together a handful of times. But everything you've mentioned the sport, especially female paddlers. And so I just want to say again, like we've all got your back. You just focus on staying healthy and strong and getting back on the water. And I know, everything else will take care of itself. And thanks for being so real, vulnerable, and coming on Beeflo Sessions.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Good luck and enjoy El Salvador.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to this episode of B-Flow Sessions. Please take a moment and rate the show, give it a follow, and leave a comment. Also, if you could share it with your fans, your friends, your family, and everybody else you know in the paddling world, that would help the show grow and help more paddlers find and be in the flow.